Welcome back, guys, to our NFL preview of edition of Kyle's Big Board presented by the Straight Facts Podcast. This is episode 4. This is going to round out our NFC. Of course, Big Board is where we take a topic, we rank it, and we count it down. And this one's going to be the NFC West. I'm joined today by my man, James Jackson. I'm going to rank. He's going to react to my rankings, throw in his little insight. So before we get started, I'm going to kick it to you, James. Who's winning the NFC West?
I knew you were going to ask me this, and literally ever since we've been like off camera and back on, I've been trying to think of who I think is going to win the NFC West. I haven't put too much brain power into it yet, and I don't know why I'm putting my eggs in this team's basket again, but I got to go the Seahawks. Like, I know they were like one of the best teams in the NFL through the first 11, 12 weeks of the season, and much like the Steelers, kind of just had this weird collapse out of nowhere where they just couldn't win at the end of the season, and then limped their way into the playoffs, but I got to think they get it together. I got to think that, things get sewed up and Russ gets that team on the right direction. I'm going to go, the Seahawks way to win the NFC West.
All right. Well, James says the Seahawks. You're going to see who I say. And I want you guys, the question of the day is who's going to win it? Drop that down in the comment section below. But let's get into it. We're going to start at the bottom like we always do. That is number 4. And this one's a little controversial, James. This is actually the favorite to win the division, but I'm sorry, I just don't see it. That is the San Francisco 49ers. Their defense is not top 5 in the league anymore. I'm sorry. And their quarterback is still Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, I like their odds a little better if Trey Lance gets that job, but because of the upside potential there. But I can't bank on a quarterback to win the NFC West. We're talking about arguably the best conference or the best division in football. It's this one or the AFC North. I'm not listening to anyone else.
Right,
so, I mean, Debo Samuel and Ayuk I think Mostert's a good freaking running back. They have Kittle, but compared to the other teams in this conference, I got to put them 4. And this is a division that's going to get 3 playoff teams.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like they did last year. I'm with you. I just think like a question mark puts you so behind every other team in this division. Like every other team has so much firepower and so much going for them that if you're not locked in and ready to go on all fronts, it just puts you behind the 8 ball, and there's just too much ground to make up when you're talking about the NFC West. Like I don't hate you at all. They're starting from behind the pack because of how bad the season they had last year, and they only created more question marks with getting Trey Lance. It's not like they got another position and told Jimmy you're 100% the starter, but they did get some insurance if and when Jimmy gets hurt again. So we'll see. But people might hate you for putting San Fran 4. I don't. I really don't.
All right. Well, I'm happy we're in agreement because I know the people in the comment section won't be down below.
Let them hate, man.
But that's what the comment section's here for. We love to hear it.
Right.
We'll go to number 3, though. And to me, that's the Arizona Cardinals. They went 8-8 last season. Of course, you get the extra game this season. I'm not expecting a huge jump from last season. It'll be above 500, though. I expect about 10 wins from the Cardinals this year. That would be, 10-7, maybe 9-8. But they got better, right? I mean, we're seeing, they had a lot of young guys. A lot of rookies, most notably Isaiah Simmons on defense is going to be going into his second year. I think he's good. They just pulled in J.J. Watt. Kyler Murray's only year 3 now. That's going to be a step up. And they got DeAndre Hopkins. I think there's a lot of firepower here. And I think everyone last season we saw a growing process. Even with Cliff Kingsbury at the head coach, he's a young coach. I think this team's going to settle in this year. It is just a tough division. They'd be my favorite to win probably 2 or 3 divisions if they were in another division in the NFL. But I'm expecting about a 10-7 season out of the Cardinals. Do you agree with that one, or what do we think?
I think you could argue the Cardinals go number 2. I don't think I'd ever put them as the best team in this division, but you could argue that they're number 2. And let's not forget, for a bulk of the season last year, the Cardinals were number 1 in this division. They did have the division lead going into like week 9 or 10, like a latter part of the season. And I think if it all does click together, I see a very 2018 Rams-esque team, a team that went to the Super Bowl. If they put it together with a dynamic and innovative play caller like Cliff Kingsbury, it can mirror that Sean McVay team and take them a lot of places. But just like that Rams team, they do have the potential of bottoming out too and being a number 3 and number 4 team in the division. So since there's still a lot of new pieces there, I don't blame you for putting them at 3, but I also won't blame people in the comments if they want to say they're at number 2 as well.
Fair enough. I think the offense is very explosive. I just think we saw them get picked apart at times last season, and I'm not sure their defense is capable enough to really shut a team out.
And here's the thing. J.J. Watt's a big name, and he's still going to do wonders on that defensive line.
Yep.
JJ Watt not going. He's not double digit sacks to JJ Watt
Yep.
anymore. He's just not. He's there to take some pressure off of Chandler Jones, which I think he's going to do really well. But I don't
Yeah.
think JJ Watt's any like difference maker on the Cardinals defense anymore. I just don't.
What's the thing from like grade school, like the storybook? Like you got the rising action, you got the climax, and you got the
Yeah,
falling
yeah,
action. I
exactly.
think we're on that falling action. We're
Yeah,
not to
yeah.
the resolution yet, but no,
But
I
it's on
agree
it's
with
on the
you
way
on
down.
JJ Watt.
Yes, sir.
Yep. All right, well, we'll move to number 2, and obviously we got the Rams and the Seahawks left. My number 2 is going to be the Rams, 10-6 last season, and I think they've only gotten better, and a lot of that comes back to the fact that they got a quarterback. I am not a Goff fan, but Matthew Stafford, I am. He's now an LA Ram, and I expect him to be competing for a division title this season. They have one of the best defenses in the league, and really enough playmakers around Stafford to put together and put up a lot of points on the offensive side of the ball. Of course, they just lost their running back, which hurts, but they still have Robert Woods, still have Cooper Kupp, and I think just with a better passing like commander on that team like Stafford in comparison to Goff, this team's going to be a little better and can win the division. Truthfully, I'm just going to put him at number 2.
Yeah, I'm a huge Matt Stafford fan, like right with
Yep.
you. I've always been impressed with him, Detroit. I think they gave him a little bit of the Barry Sanders treatment, with just never getting anybody around him
Mm-hmm.
to do it. And I think the Matt Stafford move, it's a little less to this scale, but when they got Jalen Ramsey, I made this point too. If they need tougher guys, like the Rams like get bullied around. You can see that by their home attendance at their games, then it literally looks like a road game. Like a lot of the times the Rams were getting bullied and pushed around, and a guy like Jalen Ramsey on the defensive end and Matt Stafford on the offensive end just gives you like a tougher mentality to say like we're going to go and do this. So I think that gives them a big boost. And let's see, because this is the clock is ticking for Matt Stafford. Not much left there on his
Yep.
career. It's like a right now kind of thing.
And I think he's hungry, man. He did his time.
Mm-hmm.
He did his time and a half. Like
Right.
he got a fake conviction. He wasn't even guilty. That's how many years he had to spend in Detroit. So I think he might come in hungry and ready.
You know how much brighter the sun shines in LA compared to Detroit? Like, oh my God.
Literally,
Like,
yeah,
this man
literally.
is happy, bro. And this brother's happy now.
All right, we'll move on to number 1. That, of course, is the Seattle Seahawks, the division winners last year at 12-4. And while you can't really look at any moves in the offseason that made them better, you also can't look at any moves that made them worse.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Carson, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett would be a nightmare to defenses, even if they had the worst quarterback in the league. But this team has Russell Wilson, and it's scary with the guys around him. I'm expecting a similar season to last year, a lot of scoring and a lot of winning. And this team's going to go as far as their defense lets them. There's a lot of vets on that defense, but the defense also lost them a lot of games last season. And when it came down to it, a playoff game. So it's going to go as far as the defense lets them go, because Russell Wilson was an MVP candidate for over half of the season, like front runner. So I think he's going to come back and do similar things.
If the Seahawks learn from their mistakes last year, they can legit make a Super Bowl run. And yes, Russ was an MVP candidate for most of the season. But remember when the campaign for let Russ cook like really came out, and it was clear they gave him the keys? That's kind of when it veered off the path a little bit. So there's only a certain level that you can put in Russ's responsibility. You can't give him the keys to the whole thing. So go back to what made the Seahawks so deadly when they were running off those 3 years of success. A good defense to anchor them, which they have again, and power running game. They start with the running game and they throw out of that. And if the Seahawks get back to that, they win this division. Simple as that.
Yep. Well, what did hurt them is Chris Carson went down for a little bit last year. If he stays healthy, though, I think he's maybe the most underrated back in the league.
One of them, yeah.
And I think a lot of that is because he hasn't really had the opportunities yet, because right when he got the starting job, he's kind of been injured on and off since then. But yeah, they are my number 1. To recap the NFC West, we went with the 49ers, who are the favorite Vegas ones, at 4.
Why?
The Cardinals at 3, the Rams at 2, and Seattle at 1. But that's all the time we got. As I said, this is just episode 4 in an 8-part series. All the NFC videos are out by now. The AFC ones are coming up. And if you're watching this late, the AFC ones are already out. So be sure to check those out. Special shout out to my man, James Jackson. Thanks for coming along. This has been fun. We got 4 more to do, baby. You ready?
Let's go. Let's do it. Can't wait to go to the other side of the pond and go to the AFC. Check out all the Kyle's big boards, including this one, man. These are fun, bro.
Yes, sir. All right. I hope everyone is staying safe, staying healthy, and of course, getting buckets. We'll see you guys next time.